think it's safe to say that we were fans of this trilogy, aren't we?
Yes.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3, 2024, has officially been out for the last, I think, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, what has not been said about this movie by far?
It's amazing.
It is amazing through and through.
Oh
Sonic
my
fans,
God. Yes!
Yes, we could tell the movie was really good. Now, this is a celebration amongst video game fans. This is a celebration amongst Shadow fans, specifically from last year of 2024.
This MF right there.
This man changed the year of Shadow. I mean, look at him. He's so goddamn soft, it's ridiculous. Now, let's get the overall positives out of the way first. What did you think about the overall story?
It's emotional. It's funny. It's action-packed through and through.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, obviously they were going to go out with this third movie, obviously. To be fair, I have seen a lot of people try to instigate the idea that Mufasa outbeat Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but there's one thing you can't beat, and it's the power of autism and ADHD.
This is ADHD. This is autism.
And this is mega autism.
Yeah.
and I'm allowed to make that joke, people. We are both on the spectrum. We've been Sonic fans all the way through since childhood. Yeah, I remember we were there since day one, dude. We were even when times were tough for Sonic fans, it wasn't even the best. Anyway, spoilers. For anybody who hasn't seen Sonic 3, go see that shit for yourselves, because it's worth the money and it's worth the time and patience rather than the corporate meddling known as Mufasa. So, how do we begin this movie off specifically? With the origin, or not technically a glimpse of the origin of Shadow, but we do
the present time at the gun facility at Tokyo where Shadow's locked in.
Yeah, so obviously Shadow is locked in a facility from Gun, which dated over back 50 years ago. And if anybody that doesn't or aren't aware of Shadow's backstory, he is obviously one of the most tragic characters in all of fiction. God bless his soul. And he's voiced by the good old Keanu Reeves himself. And I already knew this was going to be a big all-out performance, because whoever decided the casting for Keanu Reeves deserves a huge goddamn raise. What I heard, though, he actually did some research of the character before he even started getting the role.
Yeah.
So, he learned this little black and red hedgehog's backstory before he even got the role. So if that doesn't say a lot about what the actor does with his spare time as a celebrity, then I don't know what would.
And when it says that Shadow is dated back over 50 years, it all leads up to from the first, second, and Knuckles series. The first says that there's been a Wachowski protecting the town over 50 years. Second, Shadow's dated back over 50 years from a file. Knuckles, they said that Shadow was shown up at a tournament at the 1974 Olympics.
So wait, he got out at one point?
Yeah.
So wait, so this begs the question, if, now that we're aware that Shadows coexist in the Sonic universe, are we going to see a prequel spin-off movie about him in 1974?
I don't know.
This is some Monsterverse approach right here.
If they want to see much more about how Maria and Shadow's relationship is like as friends, we want to see how that goes.
Yeah, it would be very interesting to see. He ends up breaking out because he hears the Live and Learn acoustic cover that Maria does.
In his head.
And honestly, me and my brothers smiled at each other at the theater like dumbasses, and we were just like, oh yeah. This movie gets it.
Yep.
The opening literally gives us a good moment.
Yeah, it does.
Right off the bat. It's just Shadow breaking out of his facility. And then after that opening, the best opening in probably the movies we've had so far,
is Shadow beating the shit
out of every single security guard, and he breaks out. That's how the opening begins. But after that, I think the Wachowskis and the family...
Wachowskis?
Whatever. I still call them Wachowskis through and through, goddammit.
Knuckles called them Wachowskis in the Knuckles series.
Let me do a Knuckles, goddammit, alright? I don't know how to pronounce people's names right.
It begins off with the Wachowskis with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles racing, and then somehow Tails and Knuckles outsmarted Sonic, because it turns out it's his birthday. Because the day where he landed to Earth.
So yeah, they basically celebrate his birthday, or Earth Day, whatever you want to call it.
Earth Day.
Earth Day, whatever the hell you want to call it. But they get interrupted by gun associates, and we get what's her name?
Jessica Jones, which is Kristen Ritter as the captain of Gun, or the director of Gun.
So they end up calling them for an emergency fight, and the emergency as Team Sonic. And I think you already know who's obvious, though. And can I just say, this like the first 10 to 20 minutes of this movie is fucking phenomenal. Because it basically spoon feeds you everything you need to know about Shadow, everything you need to know about what's going to happen in the movie.
Because it shows that Shadow lands at Tokyo and he's like, I've been trapped over 50 years?
Yeah, so he realized he basically just pulled a Future Trunks pretty much and was just like, dude, I don't know where I'm at. Where's Maria? Where's the fat old man with a big mustache?
And then when Sonic and Tails and Knuckles
when Sonic and Tails Knuckles arrive in Tokyo, they start trying to fight Shadow. You obviously think he might fight them, but he actually just one-shots them completely.
Do you remember the line in Sonic Adventure 2 where he said, talk about a low-budget flight, no foods or movies, I'm out of here? Well, Sonic says that while he's jumping out with Tails and Knuckles.
This blue rodent right here said the goddamn line. I saw a meme the other day where it did play that line, and it's just like people are getting excited over it. It's like our age, and he's just like, hey, yo, shut your old ass up. Like, damn, we're trying to watch the movie. You didn't want to be the fucking unk in the room, pretty much, that literally gets excited over the smallest details.
And then later on, after when Tails, Knuckles get their butts kicked, Sonic chases after Shadow in the motorcycle with the gun, and teleporter through a tower where they go hand to hand through the sky.
Yeah, they basically clash, and then Sonic passes out, but apparently can't find Shadow because he went completely missing. So they need to get info out of one of the gun leaders.
Commander Walters.
And
he explains about how Shadow had too much power to handle over Gun, and they said that
it was too dangerous to actually keep the project going, so they obviously shut it down, which caused Gerald to get locked up. And you know the rest of the story.
Badniks show up.
Badniks end up killing
Commander Walters. And somehow they literally killed off the commander and like the commander from the Sonic games. But this gives me a question. Are they gonna introduce the actual video game commander from the Sonic games, Commander Abraham Tower?
I honestly kind of find it really dumb that they killed him off like that, just like that. I thought they were gonna have a scene of him and Shadow reconciling their differences or something.
Yeah,
it would have been really interesting, but we did kind of get a follow-up after that, because that's in the last later half of the movie. Gun is apparently after Sonic and Tails and Knuckles, and they can't trust anybody at this point.
Yep.
They can't even trust Shadow. They can't even trust Gun.
They can't even trust Director Rockwell. They can't even trust anybody.
Yeah, they can't. So they're basically on their own trying to figure all this stuff out for themselves. And the only option that they have left
is Dr. Robotnik and Agent Stone. And that motorcycle guy who just shut the Badniks down was Agent Stone.
Yeah, Agent Stone, surprisingly, has been the backbone of this third movie. I already started to notice that he was slowly becoming a good guy for some reason, because if there's one thing I gotta mention about for this movie, is that the chemistry between Agent Stone and Robotnik it's actually been pretty interesting.
It was.
I never thought I would give so much attention to a fruity couple in my life, even though they're not dating. I'm just saying, I don't care how crazy that sounds.
The funny thing is that Knuckles refers to Agent Stone as the goat milker from the second movie.
Yeah, because this man makes steam Austrian goat milk coffee for his abuser, pretty much.
What was Eggman been doing after the rubble? Agent Stone got him out, and Robotnik's depressed, watching telenovela while eating food from cooking out of his Badnik.
Said something about telenovela. He's looking at you. So, all right, yeah. After that, they basically reconcile their differences, and they're like, all right, we need your help real quick.
Because Robotnik started to notice that his work's been stolen. And we all know who that's going to be when they arrive.
Yeah, so they team up.
They actually go through this for a rain portal to the for the broken down facility that Shadow's in. And as Shadow sees a picture of him and Maria,
it flashes back to their scenes from 50 years ago.
Because Commander Walters, before he was Commander, he was Captain Walters. And he actually had a good relationship with Shadow and Maria.
Yeah, he did.
Because he allowed Maria to see Shadow as a friend.
Yeah, like I like how like they let the chemistry between these two like bond with another, because here's the thing, Shadow wouldn't be Shadow if he didn't have Maria. The whole point of Shadow's like story is that he values, well, he basically doesn't start to value life until someone tells him that life is worth living, live and learn, obviously.
Yeah.
But Shadow, at the beginning of this story, pretty much goes on a cycle of revenge, which is very common for a character like this because, I mean, he had everything ripped away from him when he was younger, and he used to be happy.
Yeah.
And only thing he can tear down is basically the world because he's that angry.
And the only person that he could trust in that past was Maria. Unlike anybody like beyond the trailer saying that them being friends is weird.
You mentioned Grace Randolph.
Yeah.
Like the amount of Disney adults I've seen coping after the success of Sonic 3, it's been insane. Like I thought y'all wanted competition though. Like y'all can't handle the smoke of this thing.
And then later on, after Shadow has memories through and through of Maria and him talking to her, saying if he's a monster or not, and she says, "You're more than anything like that."
Yeah, so Maria views Shadow as pretty much her best friend, and they pretty much have these like these moments, like these little moments matter so much to me because like the games never really tried explaining much of this, but I feel like the movie did an insanely great job with what they were given. Like Shadow's mythos was completely fucked up in the games.
Yeah.
Like Sega did have no idea what they were doing, but with Paramount, it feels like they're in safe hands with us because I can trust the fact that I can care about Shadow.
Yeah.
Like, I can trust that the fact that this thing is going through torment because of this thing.
Yeah.
You know? There's an internal struggle between it.
Moments later, after Shadow remembers, a Shadow Roulette is there. Gerald Robotnik is shown in the shadows. And then they hear Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik and Stone enter in.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, Shadow literally fucks up Knuckles and Tails and Stone and Sonic. Ivo and Gerald's connection as villains.
Yeah, this
is literally balls for the walls, really funny.
It's like two Spider-Man villains teaming up.
It's like seeing Willem Dafoe playing another Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, pretty much. We gotta gush about this. This will lead into Agent Stone and Ivo's like connection as characters. Stone basically gets jealous over the fact that Gerald is taking over Ivo's life because that's supposed to be them doing that together.
Yeah, Ivo is supposed to be doing that with Agent Stone, where they're supposed to rule the world together.
Even though his grandfather came out of pure spite because he was stuck in a facility for 50 years.
He's 110 years old.
How is this man even still alive? This man's like bones got to be as stable as graham crackers at this point.
I think he's been eating so much elk meat.
You think he's been on the Joe Rogan mentality? I don't know. Maybe. I like the fact that these two are both batshit insane because it's part of the chemistry between the Robotniks.
And it's too, Jim Carrey's doing it at once.
Yeah, and obviously Jim Carrey is just having fun at this point. Like, he seems like he genuinely cares about playing this character. How do we live in a world where I care about Dr. Eggman's character
rather than the mask.
Rather than the mask.
Or the Grinch.
Like, I know he's going to be doing more of that one day, but who knows?
Ivo, Gerald betray them, and Shadow tries to release a black hole onto Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Pretty much trying to kill them.
And then they escape, and they try to get Tom and Maddie's help.
To break into gun headquarters to actually find. They were trying to get info out of like the super weapon, remember?
Yeah, there was both
the space colony arc.
Yeah, the Eclipse cannon.
Yeah, that's basically what it is, you know.
Yeah.
But
and then there's this funny moment with James Marsden with this little Muppet version of himself. And then the look on Maddie's face is like, Do you want me to give you a divorce?
Yeah, she looks like she was just looking at him like, bitch, you stupid. Can I just say,
Tom and Maddie
were actually genuinely a lot funnier in this third movie than they were in the previous two.
The last two, they had their charm.
Yeah, they were quirky in their own way, but now in the third movie, they're like fully like part of the journey.
They led to the most perfect intro of them arriving with a perfect London song. And I'm like, oh my god, it gets their entrance.
Right, this is how you do a villain introduction. Sorry, we haven't even gotten to like the most insane part of the movie.
And Sonic, Tails, Knuckles have to wait until Tom and Maddie put in the chip that Tails give them, while they're disguised as Randall and Rachel.
Which, they're not obviously in the movie, but they're here in spirit, technically.
They're here in spirit, and then, yeah, and which is pretty good to notice about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I already bet that Randall's already hanging out with his marriage with Rachel at the end of Sonic 2.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed. They already had their honeymoon, obviously.
When they arrive there, it already turns out that the Robotnik chip has arrived right next to the Tails chip.
Yeah, so they were already there before they even made it.
And,
and
somehow it leads to the perfect dance scene called... it leads to a perfect dance scene.
Why is there always got to be a dance scene in every Sonic movie? Like, first, wasn't there one in the first one?
There was actually... no, I bet there was a Fortnite dance.
Okay, so yeah, we've had...
Oh, no. There was the When Evil Grows dance. And
so we've had When Evil Grows, we've had Pantera's Walk from Eggman. Now we have Push the Button from Gerald and Robotnik, and I'm just like... Jim Carrey just don't care anymore, bro. He's just having fun whenever he wants.
Shadow was, like, watching, like... telenovela with Agent Stone.
Oh my god, yes.
And this guy said he wants Gabriella for himself. He loves his Latinas.
Well, given the fact that this man tried to prevent his passport and he wanted to go, obviously he wanted him. Sonic, why are you letting him get away with this?
Agent Stone realizes when he doesn't know what Shadow and Gerald and Ivo are up to until Tails flushes them. Or so he thought he flushed Shadow.
They get all stuck in like this big facility. They're getting this the idea for the super weapon. But it turns out they both get stuck on the floor. Yeah, and it turns out that one of the gun facility owners, or one of them,
Director Rockwell, caught them
red-handed, and she takes it for herself.
Yeah, it doesn't reveal that she's a bad guy or anything, but I'm already going to reveal that in the next Sonic movie she's going to become the commander.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know if there will be another commander, or maybe she might be.
Or if it's Commander Tower, we don't know. We don't know.
But it led to a really intense scene between trying to get the info.
While Knuckles busts through with the flames of disaster.
Yeah, that shit was ice.
As he tries to break the key, breaks the thing that has them stuck on the floor, but now they're stuck on the floor and on the ceiling.
Yeah, so it leads to shit. She ends up getting the info. It turns out that Commander Walters wanted that info, but it turns out that it was Tom disguised as Walters. But the worst part to come is probably one of the biggest crash outs I have ever seen in a fucking movie.
He fucking punches the shit out of Cyclops / James Marsden / Prince Edward /
Okay, we get it.
I'm naming his characters, okay? And Jury Duty Dude.
This pisses off Sonic so much to the point where he wants the Master Emerald for himself so he can take out Shadow. This thing is so happy-go-lucky, it was genuinely sad to see him upset.
And this dude literally punched Tom, and he didn't even notice it was Tom. And when he saw Sonic sad, it reminded him on how he lost to Maria.
But yeah, it ended up leading to Shadow's crash out, which currently leads to now. Sonic actually steals the Master Emerald from Wade. He goes back and pretty much beats the absolute crap out of Shadow. And to the point where he almost nearly ended Shadow's life.
And the crazy part is that Gerald wanted to end humanity. After Ivo straight up called that he didn't needed Stone's help. But when Ivo realized that Gerald was going to end humanity, he's like, but we're family. And then Gerald's like, oh, Ivo, you're no Maria.
Oh, this motherfucker actually had to mention her name?
Yeah.
Keep my best friend's name out your mouth. Pretty much trying to convince him, but Sonic ends up preventing himself, thankfully. He doesn't end up becoming Shadow, and these two actually have the lesson where they have to become heroes to actually save a bigger threat from this world. So these two have the courtesy to team up and turn super
while
dabbing up like Ryu and Cyclops from Marvel vs. Capcom. Yeah, and can I just say, the live and learn scene where they actually transform, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
And then after that, we literally cut to Gerald spanking Robotnik. Like, how did we go from like that to that?
It's funny because Ivo was trying to fight Gerald from preventing him from destroying Earth. Because Ivo wants to rule it himself too.
Yeah, and it leads into a big battle.
And then like as Gerald thinks he ended Ivo's life, Ivo has the supersonic quill with the help of Tails and Knuckles, and he snaps him in the ass. And then this little bug zapper death scene with Gerald is so fucking funny. I was like, they literally killed him off like with bug zapper scene.
Yeah, can I just say Gerald's death was probably the goofiest I've seen in a movie. Like, I expected this man to get locked up again, but no, he actually gets his quill up his ass. And he just dies just like that. After that ends up happening, Robotnik actually makes the impossible sacrifice.
By turning the
turning the ship around and shooting the moon on accident. So technically pissing on the moon wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
It was on accident. So they accidentally pissed on the moon.
And then Ivo
sacrifices himself and announces his love to Agent Stone.
The love for his coffee, most likely.
Yeah, can I just say that scene almost made me cry.
Yeah.
I actually did feel sympathy for both right when that moment happened.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We didn't see Eggman at the end. So, I'm assuming, is he dead, or is he actually going to be coming back as a robot?
After Sonic makes up with Tails and Knuckles, we don't even know where the Master Emerald went.
Scattered across like the Dragon Balls.
Yeah, and then somehow they start living their lives again. And then they have their race, and then somehow Sonic, this guy, arrives at New York City accidentally, thinking that he won the race. But let me explain this. Somehow, we get Metal Sonic trying to kill him. Trying to kill Sonic himself.
And it's multiple Metal Sonics, keep in mind, that are after Sonic. And he's just confused. He's like, why is this version of me fighting me? And then, out of nowhere...
I might want to get her out.
Yeah, you might have to get her out.
She shows up at the end, rescuing Sonic from all the Metal Sonics.
Yes.
And she doesn't even say hi or anything. Or Sonic doesn't even get starstruck like how Lego Batman did. Sonic's like, who are you? She reveals herself out of the cloak.
And it cuts to black. Obviously, there's a lot to unpack here. The ending was really nice and justifiable. It was really satisfying. But the overall setup for Metal Sonic and Amy in the fourth movie, that shit don't come out until like
2027.
Like 2 years from now. I said it was like 3 years from now because of 2024, but this bitch is in 2 years now. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is an overall satisfying movie for video game fans or just fans of the series in general. And it pays so much tribute to Shadow, it pays so much tribute to all these characters, and I highly recommend watching this film. It is fucking amazing through and through.
And I can't wait for a Sonic CD adaptation for Sonic Movie 4 where we hear Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom.
Or we hear Crush 40's What I'm Made Of.
No.
Are we going to get both of that?
I want to hear both of those, yeah.
Alright, but yeah. Overall, I'm going to give Sonic the Hedgehog 3 a monumental 10 out of 10. First video back of 2025. I know this was insanely long. We just had to express how much we love this movie.
Yep.
And it is a good day to be a Sonic fan. So, until then, that's about it. See ya.